Hello.
Hello, hello. So no conflicts today? Wait,
Conflict.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Give me one sec. Just setting up things. February 4th, 2025. All right. Cool. All right. Let me share my screen here. Share. All right, perfect. Um, cool. So participants, action items, updates on modeling languages will be the first course of action, naming conventions, updates, and then also updates on cloud events verifiability. Because that's basically almost done. Updates. Okay, cool. Was there anything that you wanted to add to this? I figured you probably want to mostly talk on the updates on modeling languages. But was there anything you wanted to add that didn't pertain to these three?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I think it's probably just gonna be you and me. Steve kind of hops in here every once in a while. But just kind of get the ball rolling. So some updates on my end. I should have something ready probably here in the next couple of weeks with rewriting the conformance tests to use Pickle. So the benefit there, I think with the approach, basically after we had, our demos and whatnot, I spent a lot of time thinking. And I think the approach that we should go with is wherever is JSON, we're writing raw JSON, we will replace with pickle. So this is like for payloads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for code generation of like the SDKs, for example, I think needs to be a stronger language. So in this case, what you're working on, which is the open API stuff, which I think is more relevant in that space. So it's going to be a hybrid of solutions. So the conformance tests, et cetera, will be written in Pickle, and then the actual model definitions and schemas will be written in open API. Does that sound fair? Or did you want to like change anything, or do you think that's a good approach?
Um, it sounds fair. More I work with the tools,
Mhm.
more it's difficult. I could say there are a lot of constraint, and what I expect to be able to do at the beginning probably will be hard
Okay. So
to
you're
have
saying
everything. So
tools?
I'm pretty sure we will have something hybrid, maybe just pickle or pickle plus other stuff, but let's start with pickle because the code generator,
Mhm.
except if we are okay to stay with basic code generation, that will
Mhm.
generate something less useful than what we have today. To be honest,
Okay.
it will
I see. I
not
see
be
what
a
you're
big win,
saying.
a big win.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, maybe we should, yeah, start with pickle, like you were saying. So goal is to start with pickle to rewrite conformance tests. Uh modeling the schema is still to be determined. It sounds like the open API stuff is gonna require a little bit more, a little bit more finessing. Does that sound right? Or are you
Yes.
afraid that open API might not work? Because those are two very different things.
Uh, the um, to, Today two the two stack tool stack as I'm more confident are Open API generator and async API tool stack,
Hmm.
but they have some limitation in terms of what could be expressed with the modeling language because with Open API, we have some constraint to declare polymorphisms, inheritance, etc. It's a little bit different with async API, but after there are the tools that are able to use information from the specification to generate the code. And the issue is more on the side of the tools than just than the spec, because the spec is a lot of stuff and tools doesn't support every possibility.
Oh, I see. The reason for this is the spec is has a lot of knobs, basically. Has a lot of knobs, and tools may not support all features that Open API provides. That's what it sounds like. Does
Open
that
API or async API. Async API have some difference with Open API in the way they express some stuff. I have to
Gotcha.
rewrite the schema too.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense then. I wonder, okay. So what is your takeaway today? Is it, should we still go with Open API, or should we start
No,
looking?
I'm more in favor of async API.
Okay,
Because
so async is the new one. Async
yes,
API may be
async API is the one I didn't work on it really during the last 2 months. But the why async API? It's because they provide de facto tools. If you click on the top, you have tools.
tools.
Section.
Gotcha. Generator servers.
And they provide two default tools: a code generator and what they name. No, click on the drop. Sorry.
Oh, is that
on the drop? Yes. So you see there is generator and Modelina.
gotcha. Okay, so that's generator. This is the mod. Is this the
And
modeling?
yes, Modelina is used just to generate data models. But we could use it from start to generate basic model. But we have to add more stuff. But we cannot use Modelina to generate Markdown or other
Gotcha. Okay.
And the generator use Modelina to generate part of what is generated by the generator, because the generator is able to generate more stuff.
Okay,
Depends of the template, etc. And we can provide our own templates. And why I think it's more interesting than the other tools, more younger, but more interesting. It's because the tools, everything is JavaScript. So it's easier to start, but it's also a pain to maintain to debug. To be honest, I have a lot of issues to debug, but it's one language that maybe anyone can dig into it to contribute.
Yeah.
For Open API generators, they use a combination of Mustache, but very limited.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, Mustache is.
As soon as you want to have some logic,
It's not.
etc., you have to switch to Java development
Gotcha.
to create all the test and generate and extend the models that is pushed to Mustache.
Gotcha. Oh man, that sucks.
So, but with JavaScript, maybe something that could be another idea I've got is if we go to have more JavaScript tools, maybe future needs that we will have. I discuss on it with Andrea, is maybe to provide a migration guide, and maybe to complete this migration guide, we could have a migration script in JavaScript, in or another language. Yesterday, I show you quickly remap, a vector remap language, the VRL files, but the idea is this. Smitey, I got some issue to use it.
Really? Okay.
I don't remember the exact one. I didn't take note on this, so I don't remember. And for another interesting stuff about async API that could be useful for us, maybe later, is yesterday you mentioned the message bus.
Yeah.
And async API is made to describe communication through Kafka, NATS, etc., etc.
Okay.
So it could
Okay. So
use
I
it.
feel like we're kind of back at the start with the modeling languages. I mean, well, we're not totally back at the start. What we learned is that Open API doesn't really suit our needs. And it sounds like async API might do that. The only concern I have with async API is that this is really the first time I'm hearing about it. And I have a lot of experience with like code generation and modeling languages. So that's one of my concerns. But that is, that's not to say that we don't use it. It's just that I need to do a little bit more research, is kind of what I'm getting at there. Um, but
Async API is not a young technology like other I would like to try. I guess maybe the first time I heard about it was 3 years ago. My company where we want to define our Kafka API, etc.
mhm,
So it is the project is target this all is open API for async communication.
okay.
So
Um,
they try to mix a lot of stuff. I could say at some point you can read, hey, you can declare your schema with Open API, with JSON schema draft
right.
07, with Avro, but it's possible, but only on some part of the spec,
Mhm,
not on some other, like the schema or component section. But it's possible into the message section, by example.
okay. And okay, so there is no Rust one. How did you go about?
Um,
Is
for
there
the
a like?
rest,
Is there a
there
separate?
is this part is the generator. So
Yeah.
the generator is more to use what is encapsulate Modelina, and Modelina will take care to generate Python, Rust, .NET, etc.
Mhm.
If you look more on the generator,
Oh,
is
it's
to create
even.
support stuff. It's integration with
I see.
RabbitMQ,
I,
NATS,
I just
etc.
gotcha. Yeah, using RabbitMQ, yeah, this makes sense. Okay, so we don't really care too much about that.
So
What
it's
we
today I use a mix of both. It's depend what I would like to
what
use.
you're trying to do. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. Okay, so like I said, like I don't know, like even though this is old, that makes it me a little even more wary. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, and it's old. Um, uh, yeah, let me do a little bit of research on this
Yes,
because
yes. Good.
I want to play around with it. And I'll do that this Friday. I'll ask my manager if I can just schedule the whole day to like play around with this language. And then I'll also play around with Smithy as well. And the reason why I really want to look at Smithy is because I worked alongside with the engineers and that built this. So I'm very familiar with like how this works.
Okay.
And we can always reach out to the people at AWS if we have a particular feature or whatnot. We can always talk to them. So that's why I didn't want to like play that, I didn't want to like enforce that if there was a better language, but like since now we're kind of like at the beginning again, I'm like maybe we should really look at this. But if there's already some issues, I would like to know what those are because that could be something that we can bring up. And if they have a workaround or a different way of doing things, we can just, go with whatever approaches that they need, right? Let me see who's maintaining
Yeah,
it right now.
look at it today. I didn't find a 100% good solution. So
Gotcha,
everything.
gotcha.
Why I also look at async, it's because on the thread, the 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 issue you opened, I don't remember, but someone mentioned it, and I said, oh yes, it's right. I forgot to put it in the list, and it's why I took a look
Okay.
at it.
Yeah. So like I know the main contributor, like Kevin, like I'm familiar with him. He used to actually maintain the PHP SDK. He might still, I don't know if that's still the case. Um, I don't know if this is Alex Woods, like from AWS Alex Wood, or someone completely different. I'm not 100% sure. All right, why is it not going? No, this is completely different Alex, I think. No, this is the same Alex, I think. It looks like he now went back to the AWS SDKs and tools team. Okay, interesting. So I also know Alex. So Alex and I we used to go to the gym together and everything. So like I said, I know these people. Like I used to work very closely with them. So if it's something that we could potentially choose, that may be a good place because like I said, if it satisfies all our needs, plus having contacts will really help us if we need a feature, right? So um so yeah, and plus it's backed by AWS. So if AWS can describe their crazy complex APIs, then we should be able to describe our APIs as well, and obviously there's SQS and SNS, and it can describe those. And if it can describe those message buses, it should be able to describe any sort of message bus that we're interested in as
Yes,
well.
something I have to deal with for OpenAPI and async is
Mhm.
that what I try to generate is only the models, not the communication layer. I don't want to
Yes,
generate the
yes.
client or the server or
Mhm.
extra, but just how to serialize, deserialize. And
Yeah.
some tools didn't allow us to, didn't allow me at least to say I want to just generate the models, not
Mhm.
the
The
API part.
services. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why Smithy's really good. It only generates it if you make a service. If you don't make a service, it does not generate that. It only generates the resources, in this case, models. So that's why I think it really might be a good thing to explore. So with that said, since I will look at async, because I'm very familiar with Smithy, if you want to take a look at it and play around with it and let me know what because I know it'll work. It's just whether or not it's, if you and everyone else wants to use it, but I am confident that this modeling language will work for our needs. But like I said, I want you to play around with it because since you've already played around with Open API and async, you'll have a better understanding of whether or not this is better than those two, right? So does it sound good?
Yes, I
All
will.
right, cool.
Maybe I took notes on why I didn't
With
find more
the
on Smithy. I will look at in my notes.
okay. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, look at your notes, please, because like I said, Smithy, I think is a really good option for us. And like I said, it can only, it can either only generate the models, only the APIs, or even both, So like it can do everything. So it's really, really nice. Um, and the reason why, and to kind of give you some insight on this, on like why Smithy works this way, is because Smithy was actually originally just to define um how SDKs are generated. So that's why it was made originally. But then it kind of extended to AWS, like to define their services, which now they have like services. But originally it was to build SDKs. It wasn't to build like, web services, etc. So like it's really suitable for our needs. But yeah, like I said, play around with it. Let me know if you have questions. Like I said, I've used it before. If you have questions or whatnot, trying to do something that's not working, let me know because like I said, I have direct experience with this language, so I'm very familiar with it.
Yes.
All right, let me go to this. Looks like they also 2.0. I used it when it was a 1.0. So, but yeah, cool. So that sounds really, really promising now. Yeah, okay. And then okay, so I'll continue with the pickle stuff. So that sounds good. Um, so updates on the naming conventions, not really part of the implementation side of things, but it's going to affect implementation. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Like I said, I'll have this as a PR by Friday as well. Like that's my plan. But we'll see because like I said, I want to play around with async API more than getting this out just yet because I just want to make sure that we choose the right modeling language. But I'll try to get this out by Friday. Goal is to have this in PR by Friday. Then, let me see. Oops. David to research. Ben to research. And then, this is for me. Ben. Okay. And then, so cloud events verifiability, because this is going to affect everything cloud events related. I wish Andre was here because I have a lot of news here. So been working with cloud events. Cloud events is really excited. They originally I was like afraid like how if they were going to be kind of skeptical with some of the approaches, but they seemed really open to it based off of what we talked about. They haven't seen the proposal just yet. And the reason why is the proposal finally finished. It's been in works for like 6 months, man, because we've been going back and forth with security, et cetera, et cetera. But we shipped it off to security. So once security gives us the thumbs up, we are going to then set it to open source. Once open source gives us the thumbs up, we are then going to, or then, they're going to do their work. They're going to implement it, or maybe we implement it. And then we'll have verifiability. And this means like whenever you're sending something as a consumer or sending something as a producer and you're consuming it, the consumer will then be able to see who sent it and whether or not the message has been tampered with. So it's very, very nice. And we will need to update our SDKs to use verifiability in some sense or another. So that's why I wanted it to mention there. So this proposal has been shipped off to internal security. Cloud events has been very receptive of our decisions thus far.
I don't know for other SDK, but for the rest one, we use the Cloud Events SDK behind the scene too.
Yeah. So as long as you use the
So
SDK, you just will need to like use the SDK features to hook into verifiability if people enable it, basically. So yeah, that's gonna be once merged into cloud events and generate and implemented in the cloud events SDKs. CD event SDKs will need to have ways to enable verifiability. So that's basically the gist of it. Yeah, but so that's kind of like gonna be, like I said, really, really promising. Like I said, hopefully we can get that in by February is the goal. And yeah, so a lot of benefits there. With just like being just being more secure. So I'm really, really excited. So like I said, on Friday, I will look at async API. That's going to be my goal. I'm going to block out my whole calendar. I'm going to look at async API. I'm going to try to get the naming conventions PR up. Like I said, I will ping you as well for the naming conventions because, like I said, it's I want to get as many eyes on it, especially ones that maintain SDKs to make sure that the approaches make sense and the names that we choose is going to make things easier for SDKs and not harder, right? And as well as making when people open or create new issues or you create new PRs to extend the spec, they know what verbiage and what nouns to use. So that's the goal. So yeah. So I think that is all I had for today. I feel like we covered a lot, even though it's only been like 30 minutes. But was there anything else that you wanted to add, David?
no, I think you are very busy for next Friday.
Yeah, yes, I am. But yeah, like I said, I'll dig into it. I might have some questions, so I might ping you. Feel free to answer me whenever you can. because I know you're in Europe. So just, let me know whenever you see it. If what I'm doing might, if there's a better way, because I have a feeling I'm going to do something and it's going to be like completely not the right way. So if you have like a better way of doing it, just let me know. But yeah, cool. All right. Well, David, as always, thank you for attending.
Thank
And
you.
I'm really excited for this modeling language. Just researching and choosing the right one. But at some point, so I think at some point we just need to decide on one, and let's make the next. So in 2 weeks time, let's decide on one, whether async API or Smithy or open API, even though we kind of like made open API, like, that's not going to be the one, but in case like the other two are just even worse than open API, then, we have to choose one, and just kind of figure out how to make it work. So like in 2 weeks time, let's make a final decision on the modeling language you use and kind of set up a milestone in GitHub to kind of illustrate, or in GitHub issues and milestones, and kind of like start making GitHub issues to kind of facilitate the path forward to using the modeling language. Sound good?
Yes. Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, David, I'll talk to you next week if you're at the SIG or the working the spec SIG. If you're not there, then I'll see you at the implementation SIG. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one, David. See ya.
Bye.